Hello, everyone, and happy Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. Today, we are going to be switching away from multiplying fractions and going back to review a standard that most of you guys have probably already talked about with your teachers, but I think it's really important that we do not forget this particular standard, okay? So this is NF.3, and we're thinking about fractions and how we can use fractions to model and solve division problems, okay? So there's a couple of different aspects to this standard. First of all, we're going to interpret a fraction as equal sharing, okay? As something that is split or partitioned into equal groups, okay? We're going to model and interpret fractions as numerator divided by denominator, and I'll show you what I mean by that in just a second. And finally, you have to be able to solve division problems where your answer is either a fraction or a mixed number, okay? So that is our goal this week. Now, before we do any math problems with this, okay, we are going to talk about a couple of parts of this, and today is actually going to be pretty short and sweet, okay? So going back in time, 3rd and 4th grade, there's different ways you can represent division problems, right? Different symbols that are used to show division. So we're going to think about this. Let's see. I'm going to do it with words first, okay? And I'm just going to write divided by. That's what we usually say when we're saying a division problem, right? So let's do 12 divided by 4, and I want to write the word equals out here. So 12 divided by 4 equals, what does it equal? Equals 3. We're going to just do a simple one to show you how many different ways we can represent the division problem. And you'll notice that I color-coded the different numbers. So we're going to use that to help us today, okay? So one of the ways that you learned to divide was with this division symbol, right? So if we were to rewrite this problem, we might say 12 divided by 4 equals 3. So that's one way that we can represent it. You may have also divided with what we like to call the house sometimes, right? And when we think about using it as a division symbol, this number, or dividend, goes inside. Our divisor goes outside, and our quotient on top, right? All right, so part of this is saying that we understand that we can write a division problem with a fraction, okay? So we can actually say 12 divided by 4. Does that still equal 3? Let's think about 12/4 for just a second, okay? I know that 4/4 is a whole. If I have another 4/4, that's 8/4. And if I have another 4/4, there's my 12/4. That is 1, 2, 3. Okay? So 3 different ways that we can represent a division problem. Okay? These we're used to seeing. This is another way. Our numerator divided by our denominator. Okay? And that's important for us to remember with this standard. All right? Now, another important thing for us to remember is something that I tell my kids and ask my kids when we are doing a division problem. And that is thinking about your total divided by the parts. Total divided by parts. Now, what I mean by that is your total is the first thing you're going to ask yourself, what is it that I'm dividing in this problem? And when I say, what am I dividing? I don't mean a number. I want you to tell me what it is. So if I had 12 cookies to split, to divide between 4 people, what am I dividing? Cookies or people? I'm dividing cookies, right? So when I say total, what am I dividing? I want to know what is it that you're dividing, not a number, okay? So what am I dividing? All right, that is the first thing we're going to ask ourselves. That helps us to know what number goes first, or what number it is that we're dividing, not necessarily what goes first. I messed up when I said that. But what it is we're dividing. Okay, so what am I dividing? Divided by parts. Well, that could be 2 different ways that we could think about that. We could think about parts as being a certain size. So what size group? Or it could be how many groups. So when I said that we had 12 cookies divided between 4 people, it would be divided into how many parts, okay? So when we're thinking total divided by parts, we're thinking, what am I dividing? And then what size or how many parts am I splitting that into, okay? Now, reason that this is important, okay? Up until you became a 5th grader, you divided numbers that were larger here by numbers that were smaller here, just like this one that we have, 12 divided by 4. Now, sometimes we get in our brain that that's the only way that we can do it, that the big number is what we're dividing. But that's not always the case, and we're going to be learning that and looking at that this week, okay? As a 5th grader, your largest number is not always your total, okay? So this week, as we work on these problems, I'm going to be asking you, total, what are we dividing? What size, how many parts? We're going to be going over that and over that because that's what I want you to think with every single division problem. So happy that you guys joined us today. Tomorrow, we are diving into using fractions to model and solve division problems. Hope to see you then. Happy Star Wars Day.